I'm Mikey Robbins and I'm here at the National Museum of Australia to check out their project, Defining Moments in Australian History. Look, what we're going to do is we're going to go behind the scenes. We're going to check out some objects that tell the stories about these moments, about who we are. This next object is quite dear to me because it combines two of my favourite things. Television, which I've worked in, and sport, which I'm very bad at but love. This is the OB van purchased by the ABC to cover the 1956 Olympics. Now, to talk about this, we have curator Kylie Carmen-Brown, and we'll get to Barry Lambert in a second. Barry has a very close personal connection with this van. In fact, for 25 years, he lived in it. Now, Kylie, this was purchased for the 56 Olympics. The 56 Olympics, why is that a defining moment in Australian history?
Well, the first and most very obvious reason is the fact that the athletes did such a stellar job.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
That was the best performance on record in any Olympic team. 13 golds, 6 silvers,
Wow.
13 bronzes.
We'd love that now, wouldn't we?
We would. So we won the Olympic bid in 1949. There was a very strong sense that Australia really needed to perform and to really be on show and to get it all together. And they did a brilliant job in the end.
TV started quite late in Australia.
It was a very long time till it came in 1956, and part of those reasons were technical. So it wasn't until 1936 that the BBC started a first reasonable quality picture because of those technical issues. And so then there was actually only 3 years between then and the start of the war.
And of course everything stops during the war.
Everything blanked during the war, all transmissions were ceased. And then when life resumes again, the Chifley government, who was in power after the war, decided to introduce television, but he lost in the 1949 election to Menzies.
And Menzies was not a fan of TV.
Menzies could quite clearly see what a powerful medium it was.
Yeah.
He was very good with media, but he just didn't feel comfortable with it. And so he tried to delay things. Ended up with the Royal Commission, and it was the Royal Commission's recommendations that set up the current broadcasting situation that we've got now.
So this popular medium helped move Australia out into the suburbs.
Yes, so Australia goes into an enormous boom.
Yeah.
Television becomes part of that.
Central almost.
And one of the interesting things that television does to Australian society and to the entertainment industry is that it sort of domesticises.
Yeah.
So it brings people into their living room.
Which means we should talk to the man who was actually there when this arrived in the country. Barry Lambert, nice to meet you, mate.
Mike, how are you?
Very good. Now, first question I've got to ask, how did you get a job in TV in 1956 when TV was only just... Had you been in radio? Had you been in media?
I was working with the Commission.
Yeah.
And on the knowledge that television was going to require staff.
But your first big job was in this van. But how old were you, mate?
I was 17. We did training out at the showground.
Yeah.
Trained a number of exercises, sporting exercises and things like that. And our first job was the opening of television. Channel 9 went to air first, we went to air second. Because the studios weren't finished, we had to operate out of a music studio at Kellett Street in King's Cross. The very next day we packed up and went down to Melbourne.
When you guys were covering the Olympics, how many vans did you use?
We had 2 vans.
2 vans?
2 vans.
How many cameras?
6.
How much do those old cameras weigh?
Well, the cameras weighed just over 100 pounds, 56 kilos.
How many people were in each van?
7 people in there, and you must realise at that stage of the game, everybody smoked. So the doors would be shut to prevent people from walking in.
Yeah.
Everybody would be smoking.
Quite disgusting in there.
Mate, the ceiling is saturated with nicotine.
When was the van decommissioned?
74 with the advent of colour.
So it went right through...
Oh, it went right through, and basically the technology didn't change.
Yeah.
And it was admirably supported by Pye in England. They kept on upgrading the equipment.
Is this the last van of its type in the world?
It is, yes. I did a couple of trips overseas looking for bits and pieces for this van and picked up quite a few. But in the travels, it became evident that this is the only operating van
left in the world.
And it still works.
What goes through your heart and head when you look at this beautiful old van?
Well, looking at the van, I've got an emotional attachment to it. It represents the beginning of technology in television in Australia, and can reflect on the changes that have occurred since the van arrived, through technology, to colour,
to digital now.
digital.
And for you, Kylie, what do you feel like just personally when you look at this?
Well, for a start, it's a very beautiful object.
It is, isn't it?
And I'm amazed because I now realise that this phased out for colour television. So this was actually still in operation when I first started watching television.
Look, guys, thanks for having a chat. It's been fabulous.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. But it doesn't end here. We want you to join the conversation. Go to the National Museum of Australia's website, that's nma.gov.au, and let us know what you think are the defining moments in Australian history. We'd love to hear your opinion. Once again, thanks for watching. See you soon.